Right. Welcome back, everyone. I'm here with Salome Asega, who curated our virtual exhibition, Bin Ends. I'm gonna do a little introduction with Salome, and then we'll jump into a tour. First, I just want to get everyone oriented to what's happening here. So many of you are watching on the live stream right now. We also would ask you to open up our virtual exhibition on New Art City. You can get there by either clicking the link below the live stream or up in the menu, click on exhibition. And that will launch the virtual exhibition. We encourage you to spend some time with that and view all the pieces after the tour. But the tour is going to give you a nice orientation to just get you comfortable and acclimated to our editing suites. And you might even want to just keep both tabs open and follow us around in the exhibition. It's your bandwidth, it's your choice. So hopefully you all have a great experience, and we're looking forward to your feedback. I'm really honored to introduce Salome Asega. She's an artist and researcher whose practice celebrates dissensus and multivocality. She is currently a technology fellow in the Ford Foundation's Creativity and Free Expression program area. Salome is also the co-host of speculative talk show Hyperopia 2030 Vision on Bel Air Radio, and a director of Power Plant, which is a digital art collaboratory in Bushwick. Salome has participated in residencies and fellowships with iBeam, New Museum, the Laundromat Project, and Recess Art. She has exhibited and given presentations at the 11th Shanghai Biennial, Performa, I.O., and the Brooklyn Museum. Salome received her MFA from Parsons at the New School in Design and Technology, where she also teaches. Thank you so much for being here today, Salome, and for putting together this great exhibition for us.
Thank you, Kalani. I'm so excited to be here with all of you on the first night of the Gray Area Festival. I'm really looking forward to this week of talks by so many brilliant folks. Before introducing the show, I just kind of wanted to quickly give a couple of thank yous. Thank you to Kalani and Barry for inviting me to organize the show this year. Thank you, Nikki, for getting the show up on New Art City. And thank you to Dawn for building New Art City. This platform is so exciting to me because it's an artist-built and driven platform. So Dawn has done such a wonderful job of growing New Art City in a way that supports and fulfills the needs of media artists having to show their work virtually. Okay, so now we're going to move into the show. Kalani is going to guide us, so you should see that there on your screen. So welcome to Bin Ends. Bin Ends was a term used in early filmmaking where editors would save the offcuts of film strips that were not going to be used in the final project. And they'd archive or save them in bins in the editing rooms just in case the director wanted to rework final scenes. So the works you see in the show are digital offcuts. They're the pieces of projects that stayed in the studio, that stayed on the premiere timeline, that didn't get exported from Unity, but also didn't end up in the trash. The works in the show speak to an artist's process and iteration. With so many shows getting canceled this year and calendar shifting, we're moving slower and in ways that are requiring us to be more present. I wanted to move away from showing final polished pieces and take this as an opportunity to revisit the bins. So welcome to the cutting room floor. So we'll start by entering editing suite 1. You see the 4 doors there, and they act as portals into the different rooms. So in room 1, we have 2 works. First, we have American artist who is sharing the process of creating screen crack patterns on iPhones for their installation No State that is part of their Black GUI Universe series from 2018. The larger project asks the question, what if we continued to use the black backdrop of the original command line interface instead of the white backdrop of the graphical user interface, which was introduced to personal computers in the 1970s? In this room, we also have work by Romi Ron Morrison, who is showing pieces from The Future Conditional. It's a series of interactive tactile sound installations embedded in hanging quilts. The sounds are pulled from conversations the artist is having with Black feminist scholars, friends, and family members about Black feminist archives and futures. I love how Romi brings us closer to how information is encrypted in our cultural artifacts to be passed down.
Under your tongue, remember, you hold the prayer, and you can say it.
So now we're going to move into editing suite 2. We have 3 works in this room that each are visual poems and non-linear story forms that are addressing our relationships to the internet and technology through a cyber femme-centered lens. First, we have there a video poem sketch by Olivia McKayla Ross, who I think is maybe in the room. So you can invite them maybe to speak a little bit about this.
Yeah, let's pull in Olivia.
Okay.
Here comes Olivia.
Hi, Olivia.
This was a video poem that I wrote a few months ago. When I was thinking, I was just having really weird existential thoughts about cameras and surveillance. And I was thinking a lot about this kind of conversation between like surveillance and divinity, and thinking about what it meant to in so many like religions of like ancient times, like the idea that you're not allowed to look your ruler in the eye, and kind of just like the privacy that power gives you. And I just wanted to write as a way of like experimenting with what it would look like to build power amongst marginalized people in a way that could build privacy. And that resulted in this, which is an iteration of something that I'm still kind of working through and mulling through now. So.
I love this piece so much, and there's like a particular poem, a line in the poem that like I find myself saying yes to, where it's like your eyes are glowing white and you're talking about eating Jeff Bezos like a mango seed, and I'm like so here for that combination. I want to see that. Yes. Thank you so much, Olivia.
Thank you.
In this room, we also have work by E-Jane, who is also on the line, so we can pull them in.
Cool. Oops. I'm navigating through the multiverse. 1 second. Here comes E-Jane. Just gonna grab them. Okay, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, so this work is from. So basically, it's like I do a bunch of like I don't even know how to start. This work is from like a series of music videos that I recreate from an archive of music videos from the 90s that I have that I like perform with through my like alter ego persona, Misa. And so like 2 of the clips are Misa performing in like takes I took of her like trying to perform Aaliyah's 1 in a Million, and they didn't make it into the final cut of the video, the re-performance video, but like they were still really exciting, and they had these moments where like there's a lot of like failure, like the camera like falls, and I'm trying to like use TikTok and like do like this like weird makeshift like tripod, and then like it shows all the little parts where I'm like kind of like stopping the footage and like playing the footage in the second clip. And the third clip is like I also like use like Google Images, Google search videos, YouTube videos, and videos I take out in the world. And so the third video is a video I took out in the world that I didn't really use, but I still think is like really pretty. So I thought this would be a good place for it.
I love this project so much because it speaks to just how it just reminds me of a very particular time where I was like taking my family's camcorder to recreate Destiny's Child music videos and like learning how to edit and I know, super tender. Like I was like learning how to edit, and that's where I like, you know, it is one of my entry points to like becoming a media artist, right? Like I was editing and using technology and like editing using the VCR and stuff. So yeah, it speaks to a very specific fangirl moment for me.
Yeah, I think it was like when I was studying video art in grad school, it was like I didn't take to a lot of the forms I was being given to make inside of, and like I was really obsessed with like commercial forms I grew up with. So like commercials, music videos, like stuff like that just felt really easy as like a format for me to work inside of. It definitely helped me develop a language. So that's funny.
Thank you so much. We have one more work in this room by Margot Bowman, who is a filmmaker. This is an animated series called Summer of Hate. It's a sci-fi cartoon where political uncertainty plays out in a character's, on all the characters' sex lives. And so you see a lot of, the main character, you see a lot of angst about her relationship to technology and texting her partners and maybe not hearing back. And yeah, there she is on an island, and she goes through this narrative of texting a partner.
Of someone used to staring at a small screen, she studied the sand and then flipped her gaze onto the horizon. Micro, macro, micro, macro.
Yeah, definitely need to spend some time with this work. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
The Summer of Hate.
Cool. Should we go on to the third suite?
Yeah, let's go to room 3.
Okay.
So in this room, we have 2 projects that are exploring urgent social realities through linear forms. So we have, here we have Alfredo Salazar-Caro's work, Dreams of a Jaguar's Daughter. The clips in this show are from the first chapter of the trilogy, which follows a young immigrant spirit girl on her journey north from the Guatemalan jungles to the Arizona desert. Each chapter in this VR series is in part composed from documentation of immigrants' journeys through the 2018 caravan. So Alfredo is at the border. He's Mexican American. He's collecting this material himself and bringing it into 3D.
Or the empty Times Square.
And then in this room, we also have a project by Meriem, Bennani, and Orian Barki called Two Wizards, the Instagram animated series that helped me get through the early phases of the pandemic. Though the characters are all very fabulous 3D modeled animals, the social anxieties and fear and hope for a future were absolutely tangible. The series also grew with us into the summer as BLM organizing and protests picked up. And you see the compounding of fights to be fought, right, between BLM organizing and the pandemic and the rise of COVID.
It's so cool to see some of the animation renders in there and actually see how they brought those characters to life after getting to know them so well on Instagram.
Yeah.
Editing suite 4.
Last room, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let's check it out.
So we have 2 projects in this room. And I think one of the artists is on the line, right? Toto is here, so maybe we can pull her in.
Okay, cool. Let's grab her. Here she comes.
Hi.
I think the room is still loading, but we'll get to you.
Here we go.
Oh, there we are. There's your work. Toto, do you want to talk a little about this piece here?
Sure. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Clearly. Cool. So, how do I start? So the 500 Lives Without Debt was pretty much my first interactive project that I had made. During my first year of school, I had just arrived as an, out of the US transplant, and was trying to explore during my first term a little bit about different diasporic places of the Thai community. And coincidentally, the month after I came, the country entered like a 1 year mourning period, because Thailand is by theory a constitutional monarchy, but the monarch at the time had just passed away after more than 70 years of reign. So there was a long time. And after that, basically, this 1 year mourning period where there was no entertainment, everything was meant to be black and white. There was some type of austerity period where people had to sort of like sit down and reflect. And it actually took a year to host the whole funeral. So I just went to this Thai temple that is still in Queens, in Elmhurst, and every day they do sermons in the morning and then in the afternoon too. So what the whole project is pretty much was this prototype of a meditational space that I put on one of the screens in the prayers room. So as you can see on the top left, there's actually a screen that they would never use during the sermons and the prayers. And they would use mostly that screen for newsletters, like interactive newsletter messaging boards. And so I actually very politely asked them if I could use it as a project and film one of the prayers. And they were super nice. They said yes for some reason. So I just made everything on Unity, which definitely, I had to have some tinkering, and there's a lot of mistakes that I did too during that. So it never reached full completion, but I was happy that I was able to capture it on site.
Mhm. Yeah, I love watching this video, how the visual dynamics are triggered by the monk's prayers. So you're seeing like in real time this relationship between the screen and the people in the room.
Yeah. I was mostly playing visually with different artifacts of memorabilia from Thailand, and have that playability between just different binaries, kind of like more urban settings, and then also the way the camera is centered is actually in a submerged like rice field.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Thank you so much, Toto. And,
Cool.
Thank you.
and
Sorry to interrupt. I just need to bring in our other interpreter
okay.
really quickly. And if the artists, thank you all for joining to chat, but if you want to go ahead and leave the conversation and listen in, we appreciate it. Thank you. Okay.
Hi,
Thank
Candace. So we have just one more work in this room. We have work by Bassem Saad. The pieces in this show are from a larger project called All Cared For by Chains and Loops, that investigates the garbage crisis in Beirut as an entry point to understanding the system scales of care. So this artist is thinking about self-care, global care chains, and for-profit waste management networks. And so here are some renderings and stills from that project here. And Kalani, I think that's everything. That's all the work.
Yeah, I think that covers it.